On today's episode of the DNVR Broncos Podcast, we have a bit of a New Year's Eve theme. We're going to start things out by talking about the Chiefs, but after that, we're looking back on everything that happened in 2024 Broncos Country, and then we're going to jump ahead to 2025 and have some New Year's resolutions, make a couple predictions, and it should be a fun show. So we'll start that up here in about 30 seconds. This is the DNVR Broncos Podcast, presented by Bet365. We are live from the Toyota Lounge, as always. I'm Henry Chisholm. Today, we've got the Super Bowl 50 champion, Todd Davis. I had this thought a couple days ago. We haven't been talking enough about the Super Bowl season. We've been talking too much about, like, the 2019, 2020. You know, whenever we have, like, a conversation about, like, Todd, what do you remember? It seems like 9 times out of 10 we throw back to some, like, dark time.
Yeah, because now it just feels like the Super Bowl is kind of far away.
It does. Yeah.
Some of it's still really like, you should never forget. I just think that we're hoping for something better.
We are.
Oh, wait.
There's got to be it. What do you mean, wait?
Oh, they can't hear.
Yep.
Wow.
Here
Yes,
now.
Let us know.
There we go. Wow. They missed some good stuff there, too. Do you think there's going to be a 10-year reunion for the Super Bowl?
There should be.
There's got to
I
be.
think there's going to be.
What? Oh, I actually went through and figured out who the opponents would be. But who do you think the opponent would be that you bring everybody back? They don't play the Panthers next year because that would be the easy one.
Yeah. What? I don't even know what the schedule is for next year.
I
Who do we
can
play?
pull
What
it up.
division?
You got the Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans. So it's like AFC South. That doesn't do
none
it.
of those.
They'll play the Jets or the Patriots. That's the only opponent that isn't decided yet. Depends on what happens this week. Patriots could be a good one.
Patriots might be all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, a very different team now than they were at the time.
Yeah.
But that'd be a nice reminder.
Nice reminder. Yeah.
They're two big games.
Yeah. That
that'd
or
be
any of the AFC West home games,
Yeah.
I think would be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Bengals, Packers, Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. We'll talk about the schedule in like 6 months, but there's an early look at it. Like I said, today we're gonna start things off a little bit by talking about this Chiefs game, just kind of wrapping up some things from yesterday before we get into all of our New Year's themed stuff. Big thing I wanted to go back to was because we kind of had to cut off the conversation, but thinking back to the Super Bowl 50 team, if you guys had a meaningless game at the end of the year, you're out there playing, you're going up against a random team in the division. Would you be fired up to go win that game without some key pieces? Or would it feel like just a little...
No, you would want to win that game, and especially if it was against like an AFC West opponent. You know what I'm saying? If it was somebody else just in the division and didn't matter, maybe not so much. But if you can get a win over the Chiefs, or for the Chiefs, you can get a win over the Broncos, you'll take it any time of the year. So, heck yeah, we would have been fired up.
Yeah, because that's like... It's just a chance to assert your dominance. When you say, like, we're out here, in that case, it'd be without Peyton or without Vaughn or without those guys, and we still go and kick your ass. Like, that's a good feeling to have.
Without a doubt, 100%. And I think it gives just whoever's in there an opportunity to show what they have. And I think those guys would probably be the most fired up.
Yeah, and this week for the Chiefs, that's going to be Carson Wentz. We'll see who else is kind of out there, who's sitting out, but we'll dig deeper into that matchup. I'm curious, though, if you think... For example, last night the Lions played the 49ers. The game didn't matter. 49ers are already eliminated. Lions win, and they play Vikings next week. So if they beat the Vikings, they're the 1 seed. If they lose that game, the Vikings are the 1 seed. Last night's game didn't matter at all. But they used a hook and lateral play that went for a touchdown. And that was one of the conversations from the broadcasters was, do you waste this play in a game that doesn't matter? The Broncos game, obviously a little bit different situation because it really does matter. At the same time, you're double-digit favorites against a team that you should beat without all of their important players. Do you empty the clip in this game? Do you use everything that you've been like saving up, or do you kind of leave some stuff in your back pocket for the Bills game? Yeah.
No, you got to do everything you can.
You have
win
to,
this
right?
Game. Yeah, because if you don't win this game, nothing else matters. So I think you go into it saying, we have a good game plan, put together one that you feel like will beat the Chiefs, but if we need some big plays, we have 5 or 6 plays that we really feel confident about. Trick plays, hooking laterals, fumblerooskies, whatever
Flea
you
flicker.
can think of, flea flickers, whatever you can think of. You should definitely have to have some firepower in your back pocket. And you've had an extra day to put something together. So
Yeah.
hopefully they have.
Yep. I'm curious how much they run Bo, because I feel like that's kind of been the piece that's been missing. We haven't seen as many designed runs in the past month or two, and it feels like for them to make a run in the playoffs, that would have to be a piece of the offense. Like, you just need to be getting more from that spot. I'm curious if they start that this week.
They just need to. They don't need to run Bo. They just need
No?
to run Jaleel consistently and let him be the number 1 back, and not so much of a rotation. I think they'll be fine.
Okay. Even the playoffs? Is that where you start?
I think he needs maybe like a run
Okay.
or 2 runs, like just something to throw somebody off on like a 3rd and 4. But like giving him more than 2 carries, probably not something I would do.
Interesting. I go the other way. I think, again, he's not Jaden Daniels, but seeing the way that the Commanders are scheming up those runs, like they're running like quarterback counter and all this sort of stuff, I think there's room for the Broncos to do some of that. And it's not that they don't want to run Bo. It's just that for the past month or two, they call the 3 or 4 read options a game, and every time the defensive end is just not letting Bo go. And I think a couple of times he probably could have pulled it and ran, but just didn't do it. That is kind of maybe not the last piece of the offense, but one of the big important pieces, right? That I think when you get into these must-win games, you just need to have more of. Like, I think Bo is just such a good runner. I think when you get that numbers advantage in the running game, it's just one more way for the offense to not fizzle out. Like, I think the first time you run a quarterback power, you're getting 5 yards on it.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree, and that's why I think you should save it to like more of a surprise play. Not something you do all the time. And that's me,
fair.
that's a quarterback run. Like a read option is like, that doesn't feel like it's designed for the quarterback to run it. Like if they happen to dive down hard on the give, okay, then the quarterback's gonna keep it, but you're not like thinking or hoping that the quarterback keeps the ball.
Yep.
I think like quarterback power, quarterback sweeps, things like that is what I'm thinking of when you say like design runs for the quarterback.
I think so too. I guess last little Chiefs topic I had here. I'm curious how you game plan when you're going up against a team that just isn't as good as you. Because I think like that's the case this week.
Don't get blinded.
Like,
No.
You know how I feel about football games.
Do
Like,
not get blinded by this Chiefs, man. Like, you game plan the exact way you did for the Chargers, the exact way you did for the Bengals, which is not, they didn't win those games. But I'm saying like the effort and the intent that went into the game plan because you knew you had to win one of the next 3. You put that same effort and to even a little bit more into winning this game.
I agree. I think
Don't sleep on them, man.
when you play a game against the Panthers, for example, you play a game against any of those bottom tier teams, the way it goes wrong is if you turn the ball over or if you give up big plays. And I think those are typically the 2 things you have to avoid. And because of that, you wind up running the ball more, playing a little bit more conservative on offense. Defensively, it's make them make those short passes. Make Carson Wentz do what Joe Burrow did last week, but don't give up any big plays. And I think that that's probably the right approach this week. But it scares me a little bit to say, like, we're going out here and we're playing this conservative style.
They should
football.
not play conservative. No, they should be going for the win. They need to go and try to put points on the board. Don't focus on running the game or just not making mistakes because that's when you'll make them.
Yeah.
And that's when you'll get beat because you'll think you put together this soft, easy game plan, and all of a sudden you'll look up in the 3rd quarter, you're down 7 points, like, oh, shoot, I got to put points on the board. And all the guys are looking around like, I thought we were just going to run it, play slow, nice little 5-yard hitches, and then you got to put together a good offense, and you're not prepared for it. So they need to go into this game like everything matters, and they have to put together the greatest game plan that they have all year and win the game. and win the game in a fashion that's not even close. Because not only do you need to win this game, you need to make a statement going into the playoffs that, yeah, we lost the last 2, but we're still a team that could battle against anybody we face. Because I don't know if everybody in the locker room feels like they're a top-tier team right now. You went against 2 solid teams, and we lost both games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they need to feel like they have some power going into the playoffs.
I agree. I think a month ago they did feel like that.
For sure.
They did feel like they were one of the best teams.
For
just
sure.
because you're going out there and you're kicking somebody's ass every single week. But this obviously is just a little bit different environment when you lose a couple of games. So I agree. I think if the Chiefs really do rest as many guys as it sounds like they might, say it's 8-9 guys, say it's almost half their starters, you should win this game by a lot. Like the spread right now is like 10 or 11, somewhere right around there. There's no reason you can't win this game by 15, 20 points.
We're not.
No?
No, we're not. The Chiefs are a really good football team, and I think over the last few weeks, their margin of victory has gotten bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But-
Marquise Brown unlocked him.
But you still go back to when they played the Chargers. It was 17-19. They played the Raiders the week before. Again, 17-19. Like, anytime you play a division opponent, it's usually not a blowout. Mm-hmm. And so I think whether the Chiefs have their starters in or not, I still think if we win this game, it's by 7 to 10 points.
Okay.
At most.
Yeah. No. And I mean, I said yesterday, I'd probably take the points.
Yeah.
Just because 10, 11 points in an NFL game is a lot. And like you said, Carson Wentz can probably give you one good game.
Yeah.
But I also think that if they really do just sit that many guys, you should be able to beat them pretty handily. Like you should. It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I think
that
they should be able to beat them.
Okay.
But if you feel like they're going to win by 20 points, I mean, make the bet. Put it on Bet365.
I don't feel like it. I feel like that you should. Like, you should when they're missing those guys. I don't know. I'm curious. What scares you about the Chiefs? Because again, they're missing the big names. They don't have Mahomes. They probably won't have. Who knows what they'll do? But they could be down their 3 top receivers. They'll obviously be down Kelsey. They'll be down a couple running backs. Offensive line hasn't been great this year, and it might be missing a couple.
So for me, I felt like Patrick Mahomes, great player.
Yep.
Travis Kelsey, great player. Hall of Fame players. But for me, I always felt like playing the Chiefs, what I hated most was their plays and their scheme. Like, their players are good. I'm not saying that they're not. But their scheme is, at times, very tough to defend. And they're not leaving that at home. Like, Andy Reid is still putting together this game plan, and the defense still has to be able to go out and execute and play well against it. And the way we've played the last 2 weeks, he has a lot of film to try and break down to be able to put plays in that he thinks will work. So although it's not Patrick Mahomes giving you, a lot of second chance opportunities, Carson Wentz can find the first open guy and get you 5 to 10 yards. And that's what I feel like Andy Reid is very good at, designing plays that work, even sometimes outside of needing the second effort by Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I it's a good point. I think Carson Wentz getting a year to just sit in this offense, you couldn't ask for much more. I mean, This is the best offense in the NFL, at least, at clutch time. I'm sure there are other numbers that say something else, but I think that just seeing the way that Andy Reid thinks and the way that Mahomes kind of operates, the things that Andy calls, I wouldn't be surprised if Carson can step in, and he won't be able to do all of the magic things that Mahomes does.
But he can do something.
So much of it is just so easy for the quarterback.
Yeah.
So much of it is just like, get the ball right here because we've got whatever misdirection lined up. Guy's going to be wide open.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have opportunities to just make the simple, easy play. Now, do I feel like he can beat us by scrambling around and chucking the ball 50 yards downfield on his back foot? No. But we still have to do a great job of stopping him in their scheme, and whoever's playing running back, they got guys running the ball hard, and they're going to put together a good game plan. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to go.
Yep. I if I'm the Broncos, I want Carson Wentz running around. Like
Yes.
he's scary when he's making those quick ones.
Yes.
As soon as he's running around and trying to make something happen, that's where Pat gets a pick or whatever happens. We've got a bunch of New Year's Eve themed stuff at least to talk about here. First though, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Live Well. If you guys want to make your New Year's Eve even better, Live Well is a great option. Live Well Cannabis Store strives to make cannabis accessible to all. They believe everyone deserves to live well. They've got 25 convenient Colorado dispensary locations. So wherever you are in Colorado, they've got one near you. And they have a premium selection, expert service. They're knowledgeable, they're supportive, and they're here to help you along your journey. So visit the Live Well dispensary to learn more about their wide selection of cannabis flower, edibles, concentrates, and more. Live Well proudly offers a price match guarantee, ensuring you get the best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. Visit livewell.com today to reserve your products online for a quick in-store pickup, or simply stop by because they can't wait to answer all of your questions about cannabis. If you place your order online, you can still redeem our code, which is DNVR25, at pickup, and you receive the discount. So mention that code, DNVR25, in the store. Get 25% off one regular priced item. Restrictions apply.
And shout out to our friends over at Verizon. If you're tired of your phone bill draining your bank account, wish you could use that money for something more fun and exciting, well, Verizon feels your pain. For a limited time, new customers can get up to $800 in a prepaid MasterCard to pay off your current smartphone loan when you switch. $800 is a lot of money, people. I think you can do a lot, especially with the new year. Going into the new year with $800 more in your pocket, I think it's going to help anybody's New Year's resolution. So check out Verizon. You can just trade in any phone from their top brands with select unlimited plans, because Verizon gives you the 5G network to power your entire day, and they've got you covered with their award-winning network performance. This deal won't last long, so don't get stuck on the bench. Again, $800. Switch to Verizon today and take control of your game plan. Visit your local Verizon store for details.
All right. Reminder, this podcast is presented by Bet365. We're here in the Toyota Lounge. Let's start by looking back at last year. I guess still this year, but barely. What will you remember 2024 for?
Are you talking about Broncos related? Or okay, okay.
No, I'm actually curious about both now that I think of it.
2024 was the year of Bo.
The year of Bo.
You know how you have like the year of the monkey, the year of the dragon, the year of the... I think it's the year of the Bo.
The year of the Bo.
Because it's the year that he, got the nod, drafted him in the first round, ended up doing good, showed us that he could definitely be our quarterback for the foreseeable future. So... ultimately, I think for myself and the rest of Broncos Country, 2024 was a good year.
Yep. I think it kind of just finally reset everything. Like, the Broncos are finally back, balanced. Maybe not the greatest football team yet, but at least, like, you understand what they are and where they're going. Because remember, at this point last year, Russell Wilson was still on the team.
Yep.
Like, we were still, with a week to go, saying, like, they're probably getting rid of Russ, right? Like, can they trade him? Can they cut him? The numbers sound crazy, but you kind of have to try. There was so much uncertainty with all of that at the very least, in 2024, the Broncos were able to just steady the ship.
Yeah.
And make it so that they have kind of a platform to build off of. And the fact that they won as many games as they did, it was a surprise. I think that's why it's such like a happy year instead of... It easily could have felt like a wasted year because you just get rid of Russ. You're kind of just eating that cap hit. But instead, you find a quarterback you're excited about and get to build on it a bit.
It's a good year, man. It's not... They're not going to the Super Bowl yet, but ultimately, I mean, you don't always have to hit home runs. You know what I'm saying? Singles and doubles.
Yeah. I think this was a double.
Yeah. I think...
You got rid of Russ,
I
and
agree.
you kind of built off of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
I want to run through... So every year we do... Like, last year was 24 Broncos predictions for 2024. I'll have the 25 of them for 2025 coming out tomorrow. And we'll have the Rockies guys and the Nuggets and the Avs and everybody else. We'll have them up over the course of the week. It's always kind of fun because you get to make a bunch of kind of crazy guesses at things that are going to happen. So yeah, let's look back on last year's. The first one was, remember, so they still had one game left in the season, and that game was against the Raiders.
Yeah.
And Jarrett Stidham started that game.
Guys, we lost against the Patriots, so it didn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a dark time. My first prediction was the Broncos will finally beat the Raiders, but they won't do it in that game.
I guess you're right.
I did it. Yeah. I got that one right.
100%.
3 Pro Bowlers. Nailed that one. A lot. This isn't just me taking a victory lap. There were a lot of really bad ones. But yeah, got Pat in there, got Justin in there, and Marvin.
Oh, for last year's
For
Pro
last
Bowl
year.
lottery. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
Russell Wilson will be released.
You're on it.
Got that one. Here's where things kind of get dark, though. I had Jarrett Stidham starting week 1 because I thought that regardless
he's on the
of who
team,
the rookie
though,
was,
so
he
do you
was
get
on
like
the
a
team.
little, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. Looking back, that was obviously the right decision, though, right? You have to give Bo week 1, let him grow.
Yeah, he's fine.
It's
It wasn't awesome, but I think the growing pains would have came week 1 or week 3, so it's better just to get him out at week 1.
It is kind of crazy that was a discussion. I think with Bo, pretty much everybody was saying just start Bo because he's so experienced. He's an older rookie.
Yeah.
But you look around and like Michael Penix didn't get to play much this year. But then he goes out a couple nights ago and does what he did, and you say like, well, maybe they should have played him earlier.
Yeah.
Drake May, I think maybe a little bit tougher decision, but he looks like he's heading in the right direction. But those Patriots teams at the beginning of the year, maybe you would be really setting him up for failure if you'd thrown him out there.
Yeah, it's weird because he does look like he needed some time. But I think his first couple starts weren't the best.
No.
And so he's getting better over time. But Penix, I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's just in a class of his own. So we told you guys he was going to be nice. But Bo Nix is nice, so there's nothing to worry about.
Yep. Speaking of Penix, a 5th prediction was Michael Penix Jr. will be a Bronco.
Well, was
Yeah.
it 2 picks away? 4 picks away?
Yeah,
4 picks
four.
away.
4. And the Broncos wanted Bo. Broncos
Yeah,
were never
they did.
taking Penix.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. You're still not convinced?
No.
Broncos will trade Jerry Jeudy. Got that one.
Yep.
George Payton is back.
He's back.
It's right, but it's also crazy to think back to the time where that was a conversation. Because I think now everybody looks at George Payton and says, like, yeah, he's doing a great job. Look at these drafts. Look at how they're building the team. Like, look at how great everything is going. But a year ago,
They were calling for him to get fired.
they were.
It's so crazy to see, like, just in football, how much. Because you try to shut it off when you're in the locker room. So you're trying to look at it so you don't see how much it happens. But so often, you get, like, one and done. One bad mistake, one bad year, one bad decision, and they're like, get rid of this guy. He's gone forever. And then all of a sudden, you find a way to do something. You finally, you know, feel like you're on the right track. And now it's like, we got to keep him around forever. He's doing such a great job. It's so finicky in the media.
Yeah. And the fans, too.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been the big difference. Because it used to be, like, the media's always been the media. You know? And it's changed a little bit, whether it's, you know, now ESPN does the hot take stuff, and there's more of that than there might have been. But there was still, back in the day, like the columnists for the newspaper, back when 90% of people got the newspaper delivered to their house, who would say, Mike Shanahan made a terrible decision to do this, and they need to rethink his future. But now it's not just like these couple of voices, it's everybody. So it's like Jamal Murray right now. You know, they asked him after the last game. He's finally putting things together. Past 9 games, the numbers are great. And it's like, yeah, have you been listening to fans? And he's like, no, what are they saying? And you know, like, he's hearing, but he's just like, tell me to my face. Like, what are they saying? And I guess we get some of that here. Like, whenever I put on, you know, 5 pounds, you hear about that a little bit from the chat or the comments. But
What people be talking about?
the
you?
hat.
No,
the hat.
no. They mentioned Hank's hat because he wears the same hat almost every
I've
day.
got like 5 hats. You know, it is what it is.
That's a new one.
It's not new, but it's
looks
not in the
new. It
rotation.
looks nice.
The thing is, I've got a few of these that are black.
Okay.
And this is the bottom of the black rotation.
Okay.
So it's like you need a black hat. This one
Yep.
kind of, because you can't really see the letters.
But why is that the bottom? That's
It's
one
a
of
good
the-
hat.
That's one of your nicest hats.
Really, I think sometimes see like when you look on the camera, it's tough to read that it says Colorado Avalanche.
Oh yeah, maybe on
Yeah,
the camera, but
exactly.
I think face to face, I think that's the
Okay,
good hat.
it's good to know.
Yeah.
So I'm mostly looking at myself on camera. Point is, like when you have to hear people talk about how you play over and over again, or like Alex Forsythe, like
Yeah.
when he got blown up, like that poor guy is just getting like he was getting death threats over that, which is ridiculous.
Crazy.
But yeah, George Payton is back.
Todd, did you ever get any threats like that
No.
while you were playing? Like, did you never messed up so much that somebody's like, "Hey, man"?
No, not a depth threat. I've heard people, like you said, people, it's up and down. So I have a bad game and somebody will say something, but never any death threats. We weren't going for death threats. We weren't going for any kind of threats. I was quick to respond. And then it's funny because then you respond and you're like, "Oh, I got him to respond." Like all they wanted was some attention.
made his year.
Wanted attention.
Yeah.
Todd, talk to me.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So George Payton is back. I think if there's a lesson here, it's just that usually you just have to be patient. And like if just because there's one wild thing that's happening, you just kind of move on,
yeah.
ignore it. And yeah, so George Payton is back. Here's one that I got wrong. Number 9, Javonte Williams will have the best season of his NFL career.
Wow. That's tough because it felt like it was like, gonna happen. Like last year, first year back from the injury, still finding his way. So that means that the next year is going to be super good and successful. Yeah. And I think even at times this year, he's ran the best I've seen him run since his rookie year. But I think it's just been at times and not as consistent as we wanted as Bronco fans.
Yeah.
So.
And you feel bad for him too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to find another spot. And I'm curious what exactly that looks like. I look at the Panthers, for example.
Yeah.
A spot where you have like, Chuba Hubbard's really good. You have like a Jonathan Brooks that like, it's not a team that's looking at him saying, we need you to be this part of rotation regardless. But it's more so if something happens to Chuba, we need a number one.
Yeah.
And so you can jump in and be that number one. It's because it's almost in a Carson Wentz type situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, this is the offense you want to sub into. There's no plan for you to play, of course. But if Patrick Mahomes is out, show up, you'll look good, do your thing,
Yeah. I just feel like it's always tough for running backs and they get stuck in
Yeah.
some bad situations sometimes. Like, even my guy Phil, like, there's no way Phil shouldn't have played at least 5 more years
know.
as a starter.
Yep.
Like, he was a dog. And after he left, there was a hole in the running back room for a couple years. But at the same time, he's not finding the same success on another team as he did while he was here. And he's not getting the same opportunities. So it just sucks being a running back because it really matters about the scheme. It really matters about the coaches around you and how successful they want you to be. And also you have to have a good O-line. And, so I think it's just tough being a running back. It's probably one of the hardest positions. That and wide receiver because you're so depending on having a good quarterback. It's tough.
Yep. I think people forget Phil. So it was only $3.5-4 million a year, whatever it was, but it was the third most money of any running back in that offseason.
Yeah.
In terms of free agency, running backs just don't get paid all that much, and he goes and has the one bad year, and all of a sudden that's kind of it for him. It's like if he went to a different spot, those numbers could have been the same. They could have
if
been
you
whatever.
had a different opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a different scheme. Because I run really well like in a zone scheme, and you guys have me doing downhill power running game.
Yep.
That's just not what I do. Like it's so easy, and that's why I feel like you can have somebody be cut from one team and then find a way to be a Pro Bowl player on another team because that scheme didn't fit me. But now I find a scheme where I play well at. Like everybody's talented in the NFL. It's just more so about, are you in a place where your best attributes can come forward because you're in a scheme that fits what you do.
Yep. This is Samaje Perine.
Yeah.
Going to the Chiefs. I guess it's not too much different than what he was doing here, but seems like he doesn't get the ball much.
Yeah.
But you watch a Chiefs game, and there'll be 2 plays he gives you where you're like, that was
Thank
massive.
you, Samaje.
Like, imagine if the Broncos had Samaje right now. And they made the right decision at the time, I think, building that running backs room out. But there were whispers, like, could you move on from Javonte during training camp and keep Samaje? Be a crazy thing to do. But now Javonte's kind of your third down back.
At this point of the season,
Yep.
it's very weird because you look at the numbers and the opportunities he's getting to rush the football versus what he's getting to pass protect and catch out the backfield, it is 100% Samaje Perine's role from last year.
Exactly. I think, again, that's what Samaje was best at.
Yeah.
Like, that was his bread and butter. Like, he would be better in that role than Javonte is. And that doesn't mean that you should have made the move back in the day.
Yeah.
But again, we're looking back on the year. That's one of those things where it's like, you could have flipped that one.
But you never would have.
You never would have.
They would have never just made Jalil their number one running back and just started the season. They don't even want to do it now.
Yeah.
He's clearly the number one runner
true.
and the best one at running the football, and they still don't want to give him. I don't know what it is, man, but I guess it's frustrating because I think it's clear to see. I think it's been clear to see really all year, to be honest. It's not just 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
I think he's been consistent, and I just don't understand what the hang-up is right there.
Yep. And I think there's been a lot of experimenting on offense this year. Like, it doesn't feel like they've ever nailed down a real identity.
Yes.
Like, it's kind of your 1 week. There were games where we saw a lot of 5 wide with Bo.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, that might be what he's best at. And when you go to Buffalo, I might want to see a bunch of that. And we'll talk about that next week, hopefully, if things go well. But there was that. There was, like, the power running. I saw that Chiefs game and the way Audric kind of dominated that game and thought, okay, this is what they're kind of transitioning into.
Oh, my gosh. This
Bama's
Michigan
trying to lose
Alabama
it.
game is getting out of hand, guys.
I know. As somebody who has a lot of money on Bama, this is a disaster start.
Horrible start.
But yeah, I think part of like trying to figure out what the identity is now you see Jaleel, especially when you're under center, single back, outside zone type runs where you use the speed, let him cut back, see if he can push the boundary. You're starting to
I'm
figure
not
out.
buying it.
No, you should have known this before.
Who was the best running back last year?
Jaleel, right? It would have to be.
Who averaged almost 7 yards per carry?
It was
year?
Jaleel, yeah. Year before,
If you don't know that going into this year,
Yeah, that's fair.
and he's doing the same thing that he did last year, but getting less opportunities. Like, I don't know where it just like you automatically click that, like, hey, now he's the guy. Because I feel like you should have known going into this year that he was probably the best bet.
I think so too. I also think that you still want to figure out what he's best at. And I think some of it's kind of obvious. I think last year, a lot of what they did was kind of gimmicky. You dump it off in the flat and let him go run when there's no space, or, some draws, those sorts of things. The numbers were really good. I think this year what you've learned, though, is that single back wide zone, like 90s Broncos type running scheme is what fits him really well. The power stuff, not so much. I think as a receiver, maybe he isn't the third down back that we thought he was. Like the whole Joker thing, I don't think he's ever lived up to that Joker role that some people thought. Hey, and it's not a bad thing.
I don't
But
know.
I think
I
he's
just don't-
excelled. I think it's because his lane is just a different way. I think he's an under center back where you want to use that speed to press the edge and get those cutback lanes going.
Yeah.
It's not that he can't do that, but
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that we've learned this year is that what he's best at is just running the football, and maybe you don't overthink it.
Yeah.
We got more to talk about. But first, though, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365, where I made an incredible bet yesterday. Oh, and there's the text from my girlfriend saying the Tide is struggling. Yeah, we're watching. I made a big parlay.
Another touchdown.
Yeah, another touchdown. That means double down time for the people who aren't bettors. Hit Iowa State -9, Lions -3.5, Nuggets -7.5, Sixers and Kings money lines, Bulls money line, leaving me just Bama and then the Avs tonight on the money line. Don't need them to cover anything, and that bet was be about 40-1. So this was supposed to be the easiest leg of the entire parlay. I still have faith in my Alabama Crimson Tide. If not, I'm going to blame Zach. But that's just one of the many fun things that you get to do over at Bet365. Right now, we've got our offer. If you use the code DNVR365, you can get $150 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet. You sign up, use that code DNVR365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
And shout out to our friends over at Game Time. If you guys are looking for tickets to go to football, basketball, any sporting events, theater, movies, they definitely have you covered. Game Time has it all. And they have a great feature with their game time picks. They make it easy to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They have all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature. It shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. And they also have the lowest price guarantee, or game time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Remember, this is the Bet365 podcast where I did just double down. Bama's still a
You
2.5 point favorite.
Oh, you're crazy.
I know.
game is
I don't
over.
love it. It's over. Wow. Let's move along here. Pat Surtain and Quinn Meinerz get extensions. Got that
Bang,
one.
bang.
And if you read what I wrote, I said Quinn will actually get a lot less money that he did, and they'll do it in the offseason. But I got the headline right.
Okay.
Two good moves, right? No second thoughts in any way about either of those.
Oh, my gosh. Another turnover. Sorry.
Oh my.
This game is over. You doubled down at the exact wrong time.
Oh, wow.
They are killing them.
They're Jalen Milroe. They don't have anybody. They don't have Colston Loveland. So like that whole like Michigan defensive front, Mason Smith's supposed to be early first round draft pick. That entire defensive line isn't playing. A tight end, both their top running backs aren't playing.
This is what would happen. That's why I tell you, it's just not that people aren't playing. There's still talent on the team.
Yeah.
You just told me the whole D line is not
it
playing,
doesn't matter. They're
and they are
killing Jalen
dogging
Milroe.
them.
I was like, Jalen Milroe can win this one, right?
That's why I keep saying, do not sleep on the Chiefs. Don't sleep on them. I still think the Broncos are going to win, but I'm just saying, don't sleep on them.
I love both.
Alabama's getting whooped. And they're talking about they should have been in the playoffs. This team shouldn't even be in a bowl game right now. They're getting whooped.
I agree.
No,
They
but
look
back
terrible.
to Quinn Meinerz and Pastor Ted. Absolutely great.
Those are your cornerstones.
Without a doubt. You build the rest of your team around them. Your defense, definitely you start with the back end, what they've done a great job of. And then your offensive line, you don't have a good offensive line, you don't have a good team. So they've done a lot to extend Quinn, extend Garrett. They're doing exactly what they need to find a way to make this a really, really good football team.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about Greg Dulcich a little bit, or because he was on TV. I can't remember. It was the Giants game, I guess. And I was out there. I was like, oh yeah, Greg. So the Broncos' third-round pick in 2021 is Quinn. Third-round pick the next year is Greg. And so it just kind of goes to show, you know, there was good reason for expectations to be high for Greg. You know, he was talented and fast and productive, obviously, in college. And that third round range, you know, 80th pick, that's where you're looking for those high upside guys. You know, that's where you found Justin Simmons. There's a whole list there. And it just didn't work out. But it's just kind of crazy to think if Greg Dulcich had just stayed healthy, or maybe he still wouldn't have worked out. But if he did, the team would just feel different right now. Like, even you look at that last game against the Bengals, like, what if he just had that seam threat right there that entire game? It just changes the way you operate, you know?
Yeah, it sucks because Greg, I think, you know, his downfall wasn't his attitude. It wasn't who he was as a person. And it definitely wasn't his talent. It was just he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
So they made the right choice as far as a player. You know, it's just unfortunate. You know, you can't really predict who's going to be able to stay healthy once they get to the league. But no, I think he would be a great piece of this puzzle and somebody that Bo really relied on. Middle of the field, sometimes those are the easiest throws to make when you have a good dynamic tight end that can get open. Unfortunately, we saw it this week with Gesicki. How do you say his name?
Yeah. He's a good player.
He made a lot of good plays, and a lot of them were 5-yard out routes, 7-yard out routes, sit downs. They weren't like, you know, beating people over the top necessarily, but it was just enough for Joe Burrow to find him the football and make a good throw.
Yep. We're going to try to fly through most of these pretty quickly because there are a lot left and we're running out of time. Broncos won't find the money for Lloyd Cushenberry. That was right. Do you think it was the right move? It's tough.
I mean, I would say it wasn't the right move. It was the right move because of where we were in cap, but ultimately having him would have been a great piece to the puzzle. So it's tough because if we weren't in the cap space that we were or are in, I would say then we needed to bring him on.
Yep. I'm kind of right there with you. He would be an upgrade. I think Wattenberg has some similar strengths, like that mobility. We get into like that zone blocking stuff, and he's getting up to the second level or getting out in front of screens. Lloyd was still just a tick better at that. And then you get to all the power blocking. Like that's where Lloyd was just a little bit better, even though that wasn't his strength either. But yeah, so Randy Gradishar will become a Hall of Famer. That happened.
Check.
Broncos make no changes to their linebackers room.
Check.
Instead, no, they moved on from Josie, brought in Cody Barton.
Oh,
There
that
wasn't-
was, yeah,
last
that
year,
was.
yep.
Okay.
They
yeah,
did
yeah.
make the change.
Yeah.
What do you think of that one in hindsight? Because Cody's played better than they could have expected.
Cody's played well.
Yeah.
I think him and Josie are similar in ways. So
I can think of one.
that's wrong, man. But I think Cody's played well. It's tough to see Josie go, and I think
He's playing well.
he's playing
Every time he's
extremely
on the
well.
Panthers, he's
He's
thumping
making a
somebody
play
up the middle.
He's making a play, not even just tackles, like forced fumbles, interceptions. Like he's making plays. So I'm happy that he's being able to go somewhere and he's in a system that works for him.
Yep. Broncos will sign Von Miller. This was my crazy one. I wanted one that's just ridiculous. Bills didn't
that's
wind up
crazy.
cutting him, and he's playing well there too.
Yeah.
Broncos will be featured on Hard Knocks. That wasn't the case. They chose the Bears. 3 cornerbacks will start across from Pat. So that actually happened,
But not,
but not the way I thought.
yeah.
But not the way I thought. So I didn't
But
think
either
that
way, you're
Riley
right.
would take over. But he has. And as much as that one down game really stings, there's still...
It's your first game back. Like you
I know.
like, bro, I
It's
just
T.
got back
Higgins.
from injury though. Like, but I think Riley's like, I can cover him.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
And it's like if I could have just had another week or 2 weeks just to get my feet back underneath
Or if I played
me.
last week,
If
so I was in the... Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like it just sucks of the timing of it. And then people were trying to say Moss is trash. Have you not watched him play? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That little bit of like how the fans will just come after you after one game.
Game at a time,
Riley has
yep.
played out of his mind the entire year.
Yep.
His first game back from injury is not perfect. And you're like, oh, he's trash. That's crazy.
Yep. PJ Locke will be an opening day starter. That happened. It was the right move too.
Yeah.
He's played like anything you could have hoped.
Yep.
I had the Broncos. So again, there's 1 week left. Broncos will be 500 entering week 18. I was off by a game.
Yeah.
I said they'd be alive for the playoffs. They control their own fate.
Barely.
I had the
But they're
Broncos
alive.
drafting the tight end Cade Stover out of Ohio State. That was wrong.
Yeah.
They didn't draft a tight end. In hindsight, maybe would have listened to me. One of the Broncos' third-round picks, defensive lineman, wrong again. Broncos will have new uniforms.
Got those.
Got that
a
one.
A lot of them.
No update on the new stadium, assuming they don't say anything today.
Yep.
Made it the whole year without any information there. Broncos Country, everybody wants Travis Hunter. I'm not feeling that as much, mostly because it's just so unreasonable. I thought there would be a real chance that they were worse than this, and so we'd have those conversations.
Yeah, we're not talking about it because we know that it's not possible right now. We're doing too good to
Yeah.
get a player like Travis Hunter.
Which
so
is just fine.
that's why we're not talking about it.
Yep. Good luck to him. It's just a shame he won't be here, but it's worth
Yeah.
it.
But it would have been better for Bo just to struggle a little bit more, but still be
Start Stidham the
a
first
great
half of the
player,
season. And, yeah.
but just the first year is just a little tougher, so we get one more key piece. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see who they get. They picked 20th. They've been good players there.
Oh, for sure.
The last one, number 24. I really tried to call my shot here. I said the Broncos will win their first game of the season in prime time against Russell Wilson's Steelers. So Russell Wilson did go to the Steelers.
But
so
he wasn't.
I'm happy about that. I was wrong though.
Because Russell didn't even start.
He didn't
and then the
start. It wasn't
Broncos
week
didn't
1. It
win.
wasn't prime time.
Yeah.
Broncos lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did call Russ to the Steelers, so I feel good about that. Okay, we're going to do a quick little look ahead to next year. I'm usually not very festive, but I feel like these are some festive vibes
You don't like
today.
the holidays?
It's not that I think everybody likes the holidays. I just think that there are a lot of people who really, really, really like the holidays. And so maybe I'm just kind of the bottom half of all that, you know? Yeah. First, though, got to give a shout out to more of our friends.
No, we don't.
Oh, no, we don't.
We don't
That's
have any more
right.
friends.
Yaya's going to plug those in later. Oh, so we get to just keep cruising here. Congrats to everybody. Yeah, so let's start with this. What do you expect from 2025? Do you think it'll be better or worse in Broncos country? Because I think this year was a
Better.
good one. I'll start by saying that.
Yeah, this year was good, but I do think 2025 has the chance to be better, because football and team building is like building blocks. I think there's still more ways that we could be better as a team, and I think it's going to be a better year
Yeah,
overall.
I think so too. I
Maybe
do
a big
think.
signing in the off season,
Yeah,
maybe a big move made, but yeah,
and I think that May and June and July and August, like that stretch will be more fun. Because this year it felt like
sucked.
you're just waiting for the Broncos to show up and like win 5 games, and it's going to be the worst season in decades and whatever else. But they wound up surprising everybody, which is why I don't know that next season will be as exciting. I think that the Broncos, the fact that they're surprising people right now, like the expectations are so low that it's easier to just enjoy a 9-8 season, or hopefully a 10-7 season. I think next year 9-8, 10-7, it doesn't feel as good. And there's a chance that they go out there and just win 12 games, and it's like, oh, this whole thing is awesome. But there are probably going to be some bumpier spots during the season, just because expectations will take a step up. But I do think that, you know, the offseason free agency is going to be more fun. They're probably going to spend more money. It's going to feel like those players making a bigger impact coming to a team that hopefully is coming off a playoff appearance. That whole offseason, everybody's going to be excited. There's going to be national people saying the Broncos are sneaky contenders. Or who knows? If they win this week and go surprise the Bills, then it won't be sneaky contenders. It's just the Broncos, they're contenders. Like all they need is a couple pieces. So I think 2025 is going to be better than 2024 overall.
Yeah. It is going to be some like a little bit of uphill battles, just continuing to battle the Chiefs, continuing to battle the Chargers.
Yep.
Whoever the Raiders pick early in the draft could
That's
make
right.
this division tougher too. So it's not going to be easy, but I'm hoping that it'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, there was one more thing that from last year that stuck out to me. Remember the Broncos and the Vikings? In free agency, they were the two teams who gave real offers to Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold chose the Vikings. And now, 14-2 and all
my
that sort of
gosh.
stuff. He's played incredible football. And, who knows? Maybe he doesn't even start here. Maybe Bo is the week 1 starter. But that's another one where it's just kind of that alternate history where what if you do get Sam Darnold and instead don't make that trade for Zach Wilson?
I don't think he would have started, which is crazy.
I agree.
I think still Bo's the starter because he's the future, or seen as the future. And I don't think Sam Darnold starts if their quarterback doesn't go down. If their first round draft pick doesn't go down,
I think
he's
that's
not
possible.
the starter, no matter what.
Yeah,
JJ McCarthy will be the starter just because of the future of the organization.
I think so too.
So, I mean, everything happens for a reason, and he's definitely playing well. So I'm interested to see what happens to him after this year, because you talking about JJ McCarthy is coming back. Do the Vikings try to run it back, or do the Vikings, what do they do? Maybe I would say try to
crazy.
run it back, but who knows?
Yeah. It just depends on what the price tag is.
Yeah.
Because what you'd love to do is just give him like a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
But if he's looking for like 5 years and you're saying like, then you're really doing this. Like,
Yeah.
then do you trade JJ McCarthy? Things get really tough. They have. I don't think they're
good
worried about
problems.
those decisions right now. I
Yeah.
think they're just saying if we win this week, we're the number 1 seed and could make a run.
Nobody picked him to be the number 1 seed. If they could beat
Nobody.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody. Who do you think will be the Broncos' breakout star in 2025? Guy on the team right now, not already a star.
Has to be on the team.
Has okay.
No, it's okay.
We'll
I'll
see,
put
okay.
on the team.
It's a tough one.
Ooh, that's really tough. But let's go with Chris Abrams-Drain.
Oh, okay.
I think he's played really good for first couple games he's been able to start, and I just don't think he'll get much more opportunity this year.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be a backup. But I'm hoping that next year they find a role for him. And I feel like he'll be the star, the breakout.
Yep. And we saw last week, again, it was a weird defensive game plan, but they had a bunch of different packages. Like they were playing Damari, they were playing Chris, they were playing both those backup safeties. So having seen that, I could totally see them finding a way to get Chris on the field. I would throw in Marvin Mims. That game he put together, people forget he's only 22. Like he's still got a long way to go. Like if he wanted to, he could still have another year in college after this. Yeah, Bama doesn't look good. I don't even think Marvin could save him. I think he's on that list. I think Jaleel potentially is on that list. I think the running game has been so bad that you probably go sign a running back or draft running back. Like you try to find somebody who can bring the juice, and that's going to make it tough for Jaleel because he's probably entering the season as a number 2. Which you don't like. But I think Drew Sanders is the other one on the list. Because he's a talented guy who just hasn't been able to be on the field. Yeah, they started rotating him in these past couple weeks, got the sack against the Chargers, right? 1
play, 1 sack.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So I'll go Marvin, but I think that there are a couple of options. What's your what's a bold prediction? Big prediction for next year. It can be anything.
I was going to say the Broncos won't make the playoffs, but don't want to be negative.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Bold prediction that the Broncos draft a tight end in the first round. I don't know how bold that is, but I'm just going to say at 20, which is pretty high up for a tight end.
It is. Yeah, I like it. I was trying to think today. I'm keeping my best attitude, but I may have had a Christmas or New Year's Eve dinner scheduled for me during the CFP game tonight. And that's Ashton Genty versus Tyler Warren.
So you're not going to the dinner?
I'm streaming the dinner. It's going to be on my phone.
You're going to be that guy.
But yeah, so that
commercial.
It kills me just a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly it. But no, I mean, I think Tyler Warren obviously would be a great pick for the Broncos. Like just a freak tight end. Maybe the most George Kittle-like prospect since George Kittle. Just the big and strong and physical and likes to, like, he can get out and run, but he wants to fight a guy too. I think there's going to be a moment when Ashton Genty feels like he's attainable. Again, like I think you look at it now and say like he's a top 10 pick. And I think that he probably does wind up being a top 10 pick. But the way draft season goes, there's going to be a time when I think we're going to get to have a real talk about, do you use that pick on Ashton Genty if he slips there?
You think so?
I think
drop from, I mean,
when it's all said and done, I think he's top 10.
Yeah, you're right. I think people do fluctuate a lot when, you know, there'll be some quarterback who had a trash year and that's going to be, you know, the savior of the world halfway through.
He's top 5
after
pick,
his pro day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
Usually somebody
6'5".
falls, somebody drops. It's how it happens.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll say I'll build off of yours and say one of those two guys playing tonight, Tyler Warren or Ashton Genty, is a Bronco. Real quick. Oh, we got time. We got New Year's resolutions. So goals, things where you try to improve. We got to start with the big one, Bo Nix. What should the New Year's resolution be for Bo? Is it something where you look at statistical? Is it off field? Is it schematic? I'm curious where you go with this.
I think it's technical. I think it's play recognition and footwork.
I like
still
that.
Be his, you know, what he can do definitely to get a lot better very fast. I mean, I think his progression as a rookie has been unbelievable up until this point. He's gotten better pretty much week in and week out since the first 2 games of the season. So he's done above and beyond what anybody expected him to do. Now for his ability to take it, you know, 2 steps further, I think that footwork and, you know, play recognition, like that'll take him to a top 10 level.
Yep. I like that. But since you took footwork, I'll go with just the deep ball. Like, I just want to see consistent deep balls. It doesn't mean you have to hit every one, but I just want to see. Okay. I want to. I don't want to feel like it's not going to work Because right now I get that feeling like balls in the air. It's like, this is probably going to be an overthrow because he's
50-50.
scared to make it, like throw the dangerous pass. But I don't want to have that feeling anymore. That's what it comes down to.
All right. So it's selfish a little bit.
Yep. No, it's all about me. The defense as a whole, the New Year's resolution for next year, because this is
I don't need nothing from the defense.
Nothing.
No. They've had a bad game or two, but over the course of the year, Zach Allen has played better than anybody expected. Nick Bonito has played better than anybody expected. Cooper has played better than anybody expected. Cody Barton, just Shanad, Riley. Everybody on the defense has played better than anybody expected. I don't need anything from if you could just repeat. Just rinse and repeat.
Just do it again.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. I will say when I hear the whole list of guys who are playing better than anybody expected, like it makes you think like, it's kind of makes you think there might be some regression.
Oh no.
But I agree. That's why just run it back. Do what you did this year. Let's hit these super chats before we get out of here. Elliot says, "Good morning, gents. Broncos should win this easy. What scares me is their chance Andy Reid." What scares me is their chance Andy Reid. Oh, what scares me for their chance is Andy Reid. Yeah. I agree in theory. I really do think that if they're sitting half their starters, you should be able to beat them. Like, I still think that they're a real football team. Like, you're gonna have to go out there and game plan, do all those sorts of things, and play well and not blow the game. But I would still rather play the Panthers. I'd still rather play the Giants, like those sorts of teams, than play these Chiefs teams. But still, like, when you're playing the Panthers, you're playing the Giants, you should beat those teams by 20 points. So that's where I stand.
Okay. I think Andy Reid is the X factor in this whole discussion, and I hope it's not foreshadowing watching this Michigan-Alabama game because they're not playing a lot of people and they are whooping Alabama right now. So, yeah, we'll see what Andy Reid brings to the table.
We'll see. Ray says, Chiefs have a great scheme and no game tape on these backups. Think of that backup quarterback first game bump. I'm nervous. Yeah. Again, I mean, we don't know how much they're resting. Because if it does wind up, it's like maybe they rest Mahomes and Kelsey, and everybody else they say, like, go play a quarter. Because the thing is, anybody they rest in this game will have 24 off days because they played Christmas Day and then week 2 of the playoffs.
It's a lot.
That's a long time to be saying. I agree. And so I would not be surprised if they say we've got a group of guys who are only playing the first half, and that's like 6 of the 8 who are kind of being managed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Treated like a third preseason game.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you guys go, you guys get warm. When we feel like you guys have had a good, couple plays, we'll take you out. We'll put the backups in. But they still want to win this a little bit more than the third preseason game.
They sure do, especially those backups. Dylan says, it's my birthday. Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dylan.
And I finally got my classic Surtain jersey. Can't wait for Sunday to beat the Chiefs and go to the playoffs. Yeah, it's a good jersey for that game.
Yep. Can't beat it.
They can't lose in those orange.
They're undefeated right now.
They are 1-0.
So maybe they knew the Chiefs were resting and they're like, because they just announced it recently, right?
They had to say before the season.
But it was going to be an alternate uniform.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So I think, like right now, when I think of the Broncos playing in those uniforms, I think of the Pat Pick 6. I want happy memories in those uniforms.
All right. We're good with those.
Yeah, I feel good about this week, but it would really suck to put a stain on those uniforms. So next time you wear them, this is the memory.
Yeah.
TBD 007, Broncos need to get T. Higgins. He's tough. He is tough.
Yeah.
I think he would be an upgrade. I still watch that game though and say I'm not convinced. Like he's
not convinced what?
He's a good player. It's just different when you have Jamar Chase on the other side. Like when we're watching that game and it's like, oh, Pat's taking Jamar, and so T. Higgins is on the second corner. I also think Riley could have played a better game. I know it's like 3 touchdowns, but when I'm giving out contracts for $30 million, I don't want to have those doubts in the back of my mind where it's like, what happens when he's not playing with Joe Burrow and he's not going up against the number 2 cornerback every week? And there's, there are those pieces that scare me. I don't know. Am I wrong?
I think so.
Okay,
I mean, he's
that's
big, he's
fair.
fast, he's strong. I mean, what
He is
more do you
big,
need to
fast,
see
strong.
from a player to show you that he's elite? He
Almost-
torched us.
yeah, he did.
And I don't think he's always on the number 2 corner.
Not always.
Yeah.
Again, it's unrealistic.
So, I mean,
He was pat 30% of the time, probably.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think you just pair him with another talented wide receiver. Maybe he's not the only player on your team, hopefully, but nonetheless, he's a talented player.
And maybe he means that Cortland is now going up against number 2 corners. And if not, then he's still going up against them. So, I don't know. Maybe not. Also, we'll wrap things up. $1.99 from Maine Taylor.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Maine. Okay. Tell Zach stop going viral on X. He's jinxing us.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, when he gets back from the dentist, we'll let him know. Who schedules the dentist for New Year's Eve?
Prentice. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you just need to go into the new year with clean teeth.
Thing is, he knew last week that this was happening. Oh, there's another? What do you think happens to Court next season from all HMAC? I think he's back and he plays really well. Yeah, I think extension is probably the best bet. Give him a couple more years, spread the money out. Easy. All right, that's going to do it for today. Zach will be back tomorrow. No show tomorrow. Next day. Thursday, there's a show. We'll see you guys then.
We all silly like the mayor.